The other thing that I was playing, I started streaming it on Monday, and I've played a whole bunch since, is a game called Cultic, which is this retro style themed first person shooter that, if you look at the way that the game is designed and you see the 2D sprites, you would think immediately something like a Doom or a Duke Nukem. It apparently has more in common. There was a game in the late 90s called Blood, which is a game that I'm not particularly familiar with. I did go and watch some footage of it to kind of see where the comparisons come from. And, instead of having those like tight kind of sci-fi corridor type environments that Doom, I guess, starts with, but obviously it goes off the rails. This is a little bit more kind of open and expansive, and not so much about finding the correct key pass to open the door. It's a little bit more open and expansive, but this is like a proper fucking satisfying first person shooter. It's got a real crunchiness to it. The way that when you fire a weapon, you really feel the recoil and the way that the kind of screen bounces around. And as such, like for me, a first-person shooter, if your shotgun is good, you've got a good game to me. And this shotgun, it's got that recoil to it, but just like the way that the bodies explode on contact, it absolutely nails that. And one of the things about this game that I think is where some of the comparisons to Blood come into is the way that it incorporates dynamite and Molotov cocktails. And you can see how the game is inviting you to think about using dynamite, because sometimes if you come across like a small campfire of about 4 or 5 enemies, you can use your weapons, but like even on the normal difficulty that I'm playing, ammo is fairly scarce. So the game is really inviting you to, use your dynamite, try and clear out 4 or if not like all of the enemies. And so you can kind of conserve your ammo, and also just blowing up enemies with dynamite is tremendous good fun. But it'll add like other things as well, like there are lanterns that you can pick up, you can throw those and use those to burn enemies. And it's got a really good like I don't know what the fuck the story is and what's going on, but there's this kind of like satanic cult sort of vibe to it. You've got skeletons with shotguns. There's a bit in the first level where you drop down into these kind of dank caverns where you've got these kind of like sort of mummified bodies hanging from the ceiling that don't move. And there's a locked door, so you go to that, you can't open it, and you have to keep going on into like a further kind of like darkened area. And you get to the end and you find the key, and obviously you have to turn back around. And you've been having all of these bodies that you've had to walk through that hang in. And then as you pick up the key, you hear this kind of like evil laugh in the background, and you're like, all right, well, there's something that's coming for me. And there's like this giant sort of like dungaree wearing skeleton with a chainsaw that's like this 300-pound monster that starts chasing you around as these like mummified corpses start dropping to the ground and start coming up and kind of wandering around. And he with a chainsaw, he's like fucking going for them as much as he is going for you. And it's pretty fucking rad. And even I, as someone who's not like on the kind of horror side of things, again, it falls more into the side of it's just big and fucking dumb, and I'm all about it. So yeah, Cultic, like I know I mentioned to you on Monday, Dave, that this would be extremely your jam. Mm-hmm. I think it's only on PC, I want to say.
I looked it up straight away, but that's, it may well come out to other stuff later, so I'll keep it in mind.
And so I know it's referred to as Cultic Chapter 1, so I believe there's a Chapter 2 that's coming next year, but from what I've heard, that's kind of like its own separate thing in terms of the story or whatever the case is. Okay. But just as I was playing through this first chapter, I was like, Dave would be fucking all over this, so...
Yeah, no, it sounds by what you've said there that it would be right up my Strasse, so it's definitely something I'll be keeping an eye on for when it comes to something I own, because I'm just not getting into the Steam Deck nonsense or PC gaming nonsense. Sorry, McGee.